you lovely lot, how are you? Thanks for joining me tonight. It's Friday night. It's actually Thursday afternoon, but it's Friday night, let's say. And I'm here. I'm doing well, aren't I? So that's good. I'm pleased. I was a bit concerned because I was a bit worried about what I was going to talk to you about tonight, but I think we've got enough to fill 10 minutes. I can waffle for 10 minutes. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your lovely comments about my last video, the Baptist fan quilt, which is on my lap. And despite my announcements on the video that I was going to get it bound and finished, well, got it bound, and I've just started doing the stitching and hand binding at the back. They were laughing at me at Quilt Group last night because that was, from there to there was the sum of my Quilt Group meeting last night, which is very pitiful, isn't it? So I do need to sit down over the weekend and get that sewn on. But it's so close to being finished, and I have actually, in preparation, I've filled out, you know, remember I said at the beginning of the year I was going to start keeping more records of what I was making and finishes. So I have actually finished writing it out. I do need to print a little picture off to go in the book, but we've got no printer at the moment, so that will have to wait. But so I'm being good. I'm trying really, really hard to stick to it. And if you're wondering what this is as a result of doing that Lincoln Baptist fan quilting on here. I've managed to give myself tennis elbow doing it, which is fairly typical for me really, but there we go. So yeah, it should come with a health warning doing quilting, shouldn't it? But yes, it's not very nice, so I'm hoping it's going to ease off fairly soon. So that one is still ongoing, unfortunately. The quilt blocks are also, where are they? They're here, look. These are all still going. I think you can see that the pile is still growing. I set myself a target of doing 30, and I think I'm at about 22 at the moment. So it's still, you know, it's still going on, and you can see I've still got bits on the table still that I had some strips, so I'm pulling those apart and using those. And I'm actually really pleased. I mean, I'm quite enjoying the process, and I'm getting some really nice looking blocks. I'm very pleased with them actually. But as you would expect, this is making hardly any of a dent in my scrap stash whatsoever. But we'll keep going for the time being, and I think it'll make a nice quilt top anyway. And just to clarify, because I think it was Glynis and also Cousin Tracy, we were talking about this, you can, and you should probably, if you're going to be technical about it, you should actually cut a larger square and cut that twice diagonally to give you the proper triangles that would go on the ends of these blocks, and that would then do away with the bias edges when you come to put them together. But I had a load of 2.5 inch strips left over from a project that I just wanted to use up, so that's the reason why I'm doing it this way. But yes, you can absolutely make proper triangles to go on the ends, and then, like I say, do away with all of that bias malarkey. But I'm really enjoying doing them. They're no brain, mindless sewing, that's what I'm trying to say. You don't need to think about them. Although the biggest problem, of course, is finding, you know, the squares to go around. But it's going quite well, so I'm enjoying doing those, which is quite nice. Now, the other thing that we've been doing, and this is also scrap related, is with my quilt groups each year, I try and sort of set a theme, you know, that we work along to. So last year's theme was the 4 patch blocks that made up that quilt top. And this year I've decided that we're going to do in the style of. So all of the blocks or techniques that we do in class will be based on the style of a quilter. Have I mentioned this before? I feel like I'm repeating myself, but maybe it was a video that I did and then didn't upload. Anyway, so this month we did in the style of Gwen Marston. Has anyone heard of her? Have you come across Gwen before? So Gwen, she's got lots of books out on the market. Gwen unfortunately died in 2019, and I had the good fortune to see her at, I think it was one of the QuiltCons, I think it might have been Pasadena, maybe one of the first ones I went to. And she gave a talk and she was so entertaining. She was a real character. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing her, and I seem to remember that there was an exhibition of her work there at the same time actually. Anyway, so this is Gwen's book A Common Thread, which shows you that you know, Gwen very much went through the traditional quilt making stage, and you know, lots of applique as well, which I think she quite enjoyed. But in later years she then moved on to more liberated quilt making, and so in class we had a little go at her liberated log cabin, and I will put some links down below. There are some little videos of Gwen on YouTube that you can have a look at as well if you fancy having a go. But we came in and we started these liberated log cabins, and basically there are no rules. You take your centre shape and you then start building up around it, and she called it playtime, which it really is actually. And this is what I made. I sat one afternoon with some scraps on the table and just pieced some blocks. Her philosophy was to treat each one as a little art form, and she was full of little quotes like life's too short to match your points, and measuring and cutting. I'm not sure if it was her who said it, but she did repeat it in one of her videos. Measuring and cutting takes all the fun out of it, and that's very much what this was about. So I started with solids. I used my solids, and I'm really pleased with how this is going on. The only stipulation that she recommends that you stick to is that when you do your blocks, you keep one measurement the same. So I don't know if you can see, but there is a join along here, and this is the width of my block here, and I've made another row that goes down here. Now, doesn't mean that those two rows have to be the same width. You can make them different widths if you want, but just so long as you keep that one row consistent. Does that make sense? So this started using some of my scraps, and then you end up with bits that you cut off, leftovers, which are slightly smaller, which are then going to go into a row that will go underneath here, and will sit sort of that sort of depth down. So I'm thinking I might do a row that will go underneath along the bottom here, and then I might do another row of something else up along the side here. Now again, this made absolutely no dent in my scraps whatsoever, and in actual fact I did one class and I said to everybody, you know, help yourself to my scraps if you like, and then I ended up bringing home somebody else's scraps as well, so I'm not quite sure how that worked, but there we go. So yes, I'm going to keep going with this, I think, and make a little row that will go under the bottom there. But I really enjoyed it, and actually I had a few ladies who were a bit resistant to it to start with. You know, we've spent years drumming into people, haven't we? You've got to cut accurately, you've got to do a 1/4 inch seam accurately, everything's got to match up, and then this all goes out the window, and they were all a bit confused, I think. But once they got going on it, they actually really enjoyed it. So I might see if I can put a couple of bits of their work in as well. I'm sure they won't mind if I put a photograph on. But some of them really, really went for it. But again, like I say, this has made no dent in my scraps whatsoever. But I am going to keep going with that. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing how that progresses. So I'll keep you updated on that one as well. Ta-da! Right, I think that's about my update for now. I'm away next week. I'm going to QuiltCon. Have I mentioned it? I don't think I have. No, not at all. I'm away at QuiltCon, which I'm very much looking forward to, meeting up with some friends, which will be really exciting. So if you are at QuiltCon, do stop me if you see me and say hello, or reach out to me. I'd love to see you if you are there. And I will obviously take lots of footage, I've no doubt, and pictures, and might do a bit of shopping. Be rude not to, wouldn't it, really? Anyway, I hope you're all well. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.